What's going on, collectors? Optical 20 here for another video review, and I want to thank our friends at Asmus Collectibles for making this review possible. It's Devil May Cry 4 Dante figure from Asmus Collectibles, and you can purchase this figure directly from Asmus Collectibles. Click the link down below, or you can order at the bigbadtoystore.com, also in the link down below. Let's start off with a box. Dante, it's nice. Pretty nice box here. This is the kind of like the artwork of the figure. See, I always I always have a great admiration for guys who want to step out of the box, especially for video games, because I have a big affinity for video games. I'm a gamer myself, I've collected video game collectibles way before I started collecting 1/6 collectibles, so I'm really happy that finally somebody stepped up and started creating video games. And I know we got like Arkham, Batman, and all that stuff, which is great, but you want to see diversions, because at the end of the day they're still DC. But something like Devil May Cry 4, which has a big part of I guess me growing up, because I played Devil May Cry, the original one. For those of you who had PlayStation 2, you gotta boot it up to start playing those bootleg games before. You gotta put Devil May Cry first. But as far as the figure, I'm really happy, and like I said, I got a big admiration for them for tackling this figure. You can see a bunch of hands here, pretty nice hands. They're soft as well, so you don't need to heat them up if you are replacing the hands and the peg and all that stuff. So pretty good details in here. You can see from the other side. So like I said, it's pretty easy to maneuver them back and forth. These characters are kind of hard to do because they're not actual human beings, so you gotta go in between whether you're gonna make the facial expression realistic or not, make it more video game character. So it's a bit tricky, but I think Asmus did a terrific job on handling this figure. You can see his two guns, ebony and ivory. For those who have played, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't played Devil May Cry until the third one. I'm not playing a whole lot of video games lately, but it doesn't take off the fact that my admiration for video games is still there. You can see they have pretty nice details on the gun. You can see the wording there, ebony and ivory. The handle has this wooden look to it. It's not really wood, it's more, both of them are plastic, for weight purposes. You don't want them to be too heavy as well. It takes too much stress on the joints. But yeah, pretty nice details on this gun. You see there's like a portrait on the side for Tony. There's a lot of I'm getting up close here, but you can still see a whole lot of details in this gun. Really nice looking accessory right here. This guy comes with a bunch of accessories, and this is not even the deluxe version. The deluxe version is just sexy. It does have this you can see his sword, his gigantic sword. It has the devil on one side with an open mouth. That's kind of like the skull. Sorry, I don't know what the name of the sword is. Nice looking. This is plastic, by the way. Imagine if this was die cast, your figure would probably break in half, because this is such a huge piece. And this is the mouth close, and you can see there, you got to be careful. They're a bit pointy, so when inserting the hands, you just got to make sure that you take out all the fingers, not take them out, but bend them up. Like I said, the hands are flexible, and so you won't, and it's really soft, so you won't have any troubles inserting this sword whatsoever. This is actually magnetized as well, so there's a lot of details in the sword. I just can't believe that it's so huge. Kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy VII. But for those who are video game fans, like I said earlier, if you check out Asmus Collectibles website, or at least their Facebook page, you'll see some of their upcoming works, and I see Yakuza. So for those who are fans, I'm a big fan of Yakuza. I'm looking forward to that as well. I've seen the prototype, got a bunch of tattoos, so it's really been interesting to see how it's going to turn out. This is the base for the regular version. It's kind of reminds me of the Lord of the Rings base. but on the tile on the top, it kind of gives you that tile effect, which is pretty cool. So like I said, if you get the deluxe version, which I highly suggest you do, you'll get this a monster kind of thingy, which could also work like a gargoyle if you have Batman or so. So pretty dual purpose there, and I've seen it in some reviews. It's terrific. I've seen the pictures and all that stuff. As far as the outfit, if you know, he got some chaps, he got this leather trench coat. There's a lot of things going on here. You can see the belt buckle, a lot of details, those things in his chest. Pretty intricate outfit, and I think Asmus Collectibles handled it terrifically. A lot of details, and here's some weathering on the jacket as well. Typically, if you get somebody, a character with this much clothing, you would have a lot of restriction, because when you bend the elbows or you move the arms forward like he's shooting his gun, typically this would bunch up, and it's going to hinder any articulation from that standpoint. Not on this figure. Like I said, they developed this pretty nice leather that they use, that it's tough, and they also claim that it's not gonna flake, as we've seen in some collectibles, where there's a tendency, I guess it depends on where you're at, the humidity and all that stuff, that this leather flakes. They're claiming that they even made a demonstration, they were scratching it, and it doesn't flake, which is pretty good. I guess because it's thin, so it doesn't have too much, they have this science around it. But as far as just a regular collector, it feels leather, it feels good. It's wired as well, so you can have this dynamic poses that would kind of give you the flowing effect. It has all the details that you would want, and it's it looks like it's gonna last forever, because it wouldn't flake. You can see all the details in there, and the best part is it doesn't hinder any articulation. So if you're somebody who wants to play around with your figures, kind of give him different poses for different situations, like options as far as your display options, then this is a great figure for you. As you can see, he has a magnet on his back as well. I mean, what does this figure doesn't have? So you just insert his sword, and there you go. I love it when a figure, I said it on my Legolas, because there's a bunch of figures where you're gonna have a few accessories, which I never complain if there's too much accessories, but some of them stay inside a box or in your in your little case or whatever it is that you use to put your accessories. With him and Legolas so far, I've never had to put anything back in the box, because they all belong to the figure itself. So if you want to use more bows or arrows for Legolas, it's there. If you want to use his sword, you can just you can have him hold it. You don't leave anything in the box, and I think that's the best way to tackle this figure. Now we're gonna go inside of his holster. This is the side of his inside his coat that you didn't see in that preview. I'm going up close here because there's so much details in here. You gotta appreciate it. Like the buckles, the weathering on the buckles, the leather material that they used for this holster, and I think it's terrific. Now, as far as the head sculpt is concerned, it's great, man. I was gonna say, I don't know if it's a toss-up between this and Legolas. I just love Lord of the Rings, so. But as far as the head sculpt is concerned, it's hard to judge, because this is not an actual human being. It's a video game character. But as far as the paint application, you can see the texture on the face. It's great. Even the hair, the way it's flowing, it really represents the video game character. Only if my camera would focus. There you go. Yeah, it's great. The eyes, stubble on his face, everything's there. It's just a good looking figure. Probably one of their best yet. They keep on evolving. I remember back in the day, they got I think it started with Gandalf, when their quality has really took a step up. You can see there, you can move this piece as well. So if you want to take a look at some of his face, not the other side, but the other one is soft. You can see it like a soft rubber. So he has this kind of smirk, really Dante-ish if you played any Devil May Cry, you know, he gives this smart remarks and all that stuff. So I pose him, you know, with the two guns, kind of jumping in the air. I'm not even using any dynamic stance here, just his regular stance. So, you know, just to show you, you can put different various poses with him. And like I mentioned earlier, you know, I'm not into extreme poses, you know, because my workplace is a bit limited, and also I don't want to put too much stress in it. But if you want to have him kneeling down, you can do that. You can see that, look at that trench coat right there with a wire. See, every trench coat needs to have a wire for situations like this. I mean, I don't need a draping trench coat. Why would you, you know, like, so this is the way to go. I mean, why would you need like a soft trench coat? It's a trench coat. But yeah, so he's jumping in the air, coat going one way. I love this weathering, you know, on his coat, and this little intricate details. And he's about to shoot you, about to blow your heads off. Yeah, you won't have any shortage of poses with this guy. And I can't, you know, I'm trying to go in my schedule right now, but as soon as I'm done, you know, the filming and all that stuff, I'm gonna take a lot of pictures with this one. So make sure you follow me on Instagram if you are interested in, you know, see, or if not, if you don't want to follow me on Instagram, just go to Asmus Instagram page, and they have a bunch of really nice photos from this with this figure from other bloggers as well. Going around there one more time. You know, this is a go-to gun. Remember the video game? They're pretty. I think you can upgrade the gun in so many, you know, levels and whatnot, depending on how you progress throughout the game. Another pose with a gun here, kind of like shooting. I don't know. I just watched John Wick before reviewing this figure, and he's like shooting from the back and from the front. Really nice. You see the face head sculpt right there as well. Matches the skin tone on his arm. And I like the fact that he does kind of have this 3/4 when it comes to his sleeve, so it hides any joint whatsoever. You can't even see it. And so, you know, from the elbows, even on his wrist, if you position it nicely, you can cover up the joints on the ball joint on his wrist. So that's another plus with this figure, is that, you know, there's a bunch of things that you could do and not compromise. If see, this is a video, it's a real-time video, but if you know what you're doing in Photoshop, and, you know, try to do different exposures, I'm sure you can pass it off like a, you know, like almost a human being if you position it nicely. Hair flowing in the wind there, turning around again. You know, I didn't even remove the trench coat just because it looks nice. You know, I'm wondering now if, well, I don't think he ever removed that on the video game anyway. But you know, I just wonder how it would look like. You know, I'll do it one of these days. I get a chance. Turning around here. Yeah, pretty nice looking figure. I didn't even put his sword yet, which I should have. But he's fighting so many demons, so he's kind of busy right now. For I would say, I know they released a Dante years ago, and you know, I googled it, and it's such a step up, you know, what they did now, and they're continuing to evolve. I got a bunch of wish lists that I wish Asmus would do as far as video game characters are concerned. I just don't know which licenses they have at this point, so I'm not even going to mention anything. But you know, when it comes to video game characters, yeah, I got a laundry list of what I wanted. You know, it's always nice to play around with this trench coat. You know, like the wind blowing in a certain way. You know, you can really do some cool looking poses, especially if he's just sitting on your shelf. So it just adds a whole new dimension displaying him with this wire coat. And this is him holding his sword, kind of pointing out, you know, to someone, because I know he does like pointing every once in a while. He's a pointer, but the sword is not heavy. It's made out of plastic. It's kind of hollow, but since it's so long, you know, you kind of want to prop it up to the other hand. At least I did, but I'm sure there's a way if I bend the elbows a little bit more to get more support, or have him hold the handle of the sword more towards the guard. it would have stayed longer, but I just want to show you guys. Can you imagine if this is die cast? You would break his you would break his elbow joints in there. So yeah, don't even, you know, if you're questioning if it's die cast or not, you can't. You just can't. Even the magnet on this back would probably get ruined. This is nice. Yeah, I like that sword too. It's long. I wish I have some demon. Well, you know what? I do have some chitauris, so I would use them as props. You know, it's like he's fighting some demons and whatnot. I love those chitauris. You know, man, they're so versatile. You can put them on any situation. You can make them as an orc. Not really, but it would pass. You know, I got a few orcs in my possession from Asmus, but you know, if you want to prop them up more, you know, it's like some to make it look more. And there you go, guys. So this is Dante from Asmus Collectibles, Devil May Cry 4. So if you're a big fan of the video game, it's a must-have. No shortage of accessories. Head sculpt is great. Our articulation is there, and a beautiful outfit as well. So like I said, if you are a big fan, I would say it's a must-have. So please follow my my channel, subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and follow me on Instagram. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next review.